Dark soy sauce is still a term that you mainly hear from Chinese cooking, where they have the distinction between light and dark soy sauce. Most soy sauce you find outside of Asia would be light soy. With dark soy, they're brewed for longer, giving them a deeper color and deeper flavors. They're nowhere near as salty as light soy sauce, which is why they're mainly used in Chinese cooking for the color. Today, we're going to introduce dark soy sauce to one of my favorite marinades, Shio Koji, which I often call miso's less evil younger brother, because it has all the positive characteristics of miso without the taste. It is a flavor enhancer. It is a wonderful marinade that tenderizes meat. Given how amazing these two ingredients are, I once tried to make koji directly with soy sauce, but that way you have very little control in terms of the final flavor. So I often find it much more beneficial to just mix them together. Very simple. We have our wonderful Shio Koji, and to that we mix in our dark soy sauce. Some dark soy, they even add in molasses to give them some extra sweetness once you have the desired color and consistency. Now today we're marinating a chicken crown with our evil koji mix. But this would work well with most poultry. The important thing is, this will make whatever you're cooking much easier to brown or burn. Whenever you use this method, I would always separate the white meat from the dark meat so that you have way more control in terms of doneness and browning. Very simple. You could wear gloves if you wish. We add this beautiful, almost maltose syrup-like mixture to our chicken crown. And what the koji rice does is it's going to help the marinade cling on to the crown. Now this will go directly into the fridge to marinate for at least 1 day, during which I would baste it with the mixture, making sure they're more evenly distributed. And then we can roast it in the oven. I'll see you then. Alright, after a bit more than a day and all the kitchen towel you could use, this is what you'll end up with. As you can see, it's only taken on a bit of the color from the dark soy sauce, but trust me, the browning characteristics of this crown has completely changed. Now be careful when you're drying the skin, as you don't want to puncture the membrane like I've done here. One of the best ways to do it, besides using the kitchen towel, is to scrape it with the back of a knife, which I've also done. With anything that has been marinated by Shio Koji, you want to be very careful with the temperature. So the best way for us to cook this is what's called a reverse-sear. We're going to put this at a relatively low temperature in the oven just to cook it to perfection. In this case, we want the thickest part of the breast to hit 61 Celsius and nothing more. Once we've achieved that, we'll blast the oven and give it a bit of browning, watching it very carefully. So just to help it get started, and for even browning, we're going to add some high smoke point oil. And to take the guessing game out of the cooking game, we are going to add an oven probe to the thickest part of the breast. We'll set this to 61, and this goes into our preheated oven. For chicken, if I'm not in a hurry, I tend to go about 90 degrees Celsius, but if I really want to eat quickly, I go as high as 120. Anything above that, you kind of lose control in terms of how the skin's gonna brown. So, we wait for the alarm, and I'll see you in a bit. Now, once the chicken has hit 61, comes out. Now, before putting it back into a very, very hot oven, you see these bits, the koji rice that is still clinging on. That meant I did a terrible job cleaning. You want to very gently scrape them off if possible, because the koji rice, the moment they hit the hot oven, they're going to burn. Basting, by the way, never retains juices. It's more about distribution of flavors. I mean, if I pour hot oil on you, you're not going to be hydrated, you're going to be burnt. We let it rest for about 10 minutes, just enough time for your oven to go to a much higher temperature. In this case, because of the koji and the dark soy, we're only going to go as high as 200. That will be sufficient heat to give it a wonderful color. You really have to mother it. You have to watch it, otherwise it burns. All right, after about 8 minutes, the chicken comes out. Look at that. Because of the koji and the dark soy, the whole place smells like a bakery. Smells like a croissant. It's not going to be as crispy as my roasted chicken recipe, just because of the liquid content of the Shio Koji. The skin would never be as dry, but the complexity of flavors is incredible. Let's plate it. Wow. Beautiful bouquet for garnish. And something this beautiful, you just want to take it tableside, carve it, and let the chicken do the talking. This is dark soy and Shio Koji marinated chicken crown. I really hope you enjoy. Wow, probably my best chicken yet.